king from the Nile Valley. It's bittersweet, I smile sadly. Truth rarely seen like child's daddies. I'm Hotep, I style flashy. Regarded highly, I'm Selassie. As time is passing, tribes are clashing. I know the ledge, I grow my dreads. My queen's two open legs have golden eggs, I'm hatched. 9 months had to hold my breath. Now I dream so heavy that I broke the bed. Provoke the feds that slaughter the sons. 12 get the 4-5 like a quarter to 1. The war has begun. Latin for sun, the soul and melanites get more of the sun. We the fortunate one. Got the God in the womb and the Lord in my come, and no more means love. Death is the source that I'm from. Everything that they do, we have already done. Self-taught, my ice a melt salt. Mine high price, I write and sell thought. I felt cloth, I cannot cotton.
Peace, family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions. This is your host, Rich, a.k.a. Black Magic. I'm with the community scientist, KT, the Arch Degree. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, what's going on, Rich? How you doing?
And I'm chilling, man. You know I had to holler at you, KT, because the number one thing trending on the internet is Avengers Infinity War trailer. So I said, wow. I said, they got so many superheroes in the movie. I said, wow, I need a breakdown from KT so we could get ready for this. I think it drops in April or May. But I need you to let us know what's up. What can we expect? You've been accurate with your predictions and your breakdowns. So it's gonna be a short show today, and I'm gonna just let you go in, brother. And if I have any questions, I ask you. But let us know what's going on in Avengers Infinity War. This mythology that's being played out in the Marvel universe, KT.
No doubt, brother. Thanks for having me on. Listen, so, like you said, it broke the records. What records did it break? 230 million views in a day? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
And if you notice, every time I break these movies down, numerology always plays a major role, is occultism, everything like that. So you got to look at the whole 230 million views. The reason why that 230 looks so familiar is because 2 and 3 of that 230, that 11-3, that's the day that Ragnarok came out. You have to understand that the whole thing that makes Marvel so different than DC and everybody else, the reason why they body in Hollywood, we're talking $13 billion in 10 years, really more than that, because it'll be 10 years next year. So with Black Panther and with Infinity War added on to the $13 billion, we don't know what the number's going to be by then. But they've been bodying it, and what aspect that's set them apart is the fact that it's a shared universe. It's a shared universe. So in order to really understand what's going on in this trailer and what's to come, we got to look at what's going on right now. Now, I went in detail with the Ragnarok decoded, and I have a DVD that I'll be editing very shortly that has it in full detail, in regards to breaking the Thor movie down. After Thor is Black Panther, and then it's going to be Avengers Infinity War. So I'm going to start with how Ragnarok ended so that people can get an idea of what's going on in this trailer. All right? So first off, in Ragnarok, it was all about him going after the Infinity Gems at first, but then subsequently trying to save his homeland, Asgard, from destruction by way of a destructive age coming called Ragnarok. Now, in order for Ragnarok to come true, what had to happen was the crown had to be placed on the eternal flame. Now, I don't have to break that down to none of y'all, okay? If you hear somebody talking about placing a crown on the eternal flame, and then from that an explosion occurs, we're talking about enlightenment. We're talking about how to become the God body. It's all that God body energy going on there. So the whole process in Thor had to deal with going from the bottom up. If you're thinking about the chakras, starting from Lama, the base chakra, the red, and then going up each different color until you get to the crown. This is what these all Infinity Stones is about, with the different colors and the energies that they represent. However, when you're dealing with the Sephiroth or the Kabbalah, okay, which was represented obviously by Hela in the movie because she had a crown of 10 horns. This is the same 10-horned beast that comes out of the ocean, you know, in Revelations. But these 10 horns that she had coming out of her represents this 10 Sephiroth, because once you gain this state, there's a constant descending of energy from on high down to low, down to Malkuth, and it looks like a lightning bolt. So when you're thinking about Thor and you're thinking about electricity and power and all this stuff, you think of a lightning bolt, and that lightning bolt is actually the pathway of the Ein source of existence coming down to catch the crown, following all the subsequent spheres till it gets down to Malkuth. All right? So what we're dealing with right now with this trailer, with Infinity War, is we're dealing with the sphere of Bina, which is understanding and contemplation. Okay? So the lightning path of thought from above to below, going from the first sphere, Ketzer, to Chokmah, and then on to Bina. Chokmah is actually going to be the Black Panther. Okay, that's going to be what sphere that is, because as these energies come back down after the enlightenment occurred in the Ragnarok movie, it has to now descend. It's going to start coming back down, and it's going to come down through wisdom and Chokmah, and then Infinity War is going to end up hitting Bina, which represents wisdom. Okay, this is what we're going to call the death of the ego, the Kali Yuga, which is the age of iron. Think about it. What did Marvel Cinematic Universe start off with? They started off with Iron Man. And the main aspect that you notice in this trailer is Iron Man is getting his ass handed to him by Thanos, okay? So that's representing that whole iron thing. Now, Bina also represents the color black. And as we go through this breakdown, you're going to see how much the color black is so prominent in this film, all right? Now, once again, like I said, Bina represents contemplation. If you think of Thanos, like Thanos is contemplating, like everything in the trailer, he's making these quotes that deals with somebody having a thought, all right? And also, understanding is known as the mother, or the mother of understanding, and how we can reinforce this is that Justice League just dropped, which was about Steppenwolf collecting, what, 3 cubes, okay, 3 cubes, for who? For somebody called Mother, who he kept talking about in the movie. All right? Now, these cubes, these boxes represent Saturn, because every time you talk about a cube, you talk about a box. You're talking about Saturn, and Saturn is the sphere of Bina, the third sphere. So it all comes full circle. That's the reinforced energy we're going to see here. Now, what did Black Panther say in the trailer? Black Panther say, evacuate the city, engage all defenses, and get this man a shield, okay? Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the current state of our reality right now. It is time to evacuate the cities. It's time to engage all defenses. It is time to put our shield up. And why is this? Because we're dealing with a war of light. You know, I talk about this with blue light toxicity. I talk about this with the circadian mismatches going on. The whole light code lockdown that humanity is dealing with can only be stabilized through the means of how you treat your body, how you engage with the sun. What is the main shield that we utilize with the sun? It's called melanin, okay, which is vibranium. So this is why you got Black Panther making this statement. Now, the trailer starts off with what Nick Fury was talking about in the original Avengers, except they got the different Avengers saying it. Nick Fury, then Iron Man, then Vision and Thor, then Black Widow say it. But it started off with saying there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if we could become something more. So when they needed us, we could fight the battles that they never could. So, you know, you got people that stay woke. You got people that are waking up. You got people that are touched that are supposed to get certain things done. If you are imbued with a certain creative essence that you're supposed to be expressing to the world and you choose not to do it, just like any muscle you don't exercise, you're going to lose it or it's not going to be sharp. So people that have a certain quality, they have a requirement to step forward and get certain things done. And if you do not, then what's going to happen is karmic responsibility is going to come, and that's going to come through and wipe everything out. So when you watch these movies about superheroes, it's not really about picking a side. It's about understanding the psychology of the entire film, because in essence, every aspect of that film represents an aspect of your psychology. All right? Now, what does Thanos say? Thanos say, in time, you will know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. Now, it's interesting he say destiny because that's Bina once again. So he's talking about Bina, Karma, Saturn, that sphere returning, coming through, collecting his chips, all right? Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face. So we talking about balancing the scales out, balancing the universe out. We know things is out of whack. You don't believe it? Turn on the television, look at social media, read a newspaper, talk to a neighbor, whatever you want to do. It's crazy right now, bruh. Okay? We got the Libya situation popping off, and if we want to talk about Hollywood, we're talking about the pedophilia rings that are coming on and people sacrificing children for blood and everything like that. We got too much going on right now, and I could run through it like run out of fingers on each hand, naming all of the taboo, terrible, diabolical, can't get a grip on reality type of things that are going on right now. But see, this is the chaos that ensues before order is stabilized. You see what I'm saying? Before the cleanup happens. So there's definitely a bounce in the universe that needs to take place. You know what I'm saying? So, as I mentioned before, the Infinity Stone acquisition, there's 6 stones. There's an Infinity Gauntlet, a glove on the left hand that you wear, that each knuckle of the hand has a subsequent stone that goes inside. And then there's a 6th stone that goes in the center on the opposite side of the palm, the back of the hand. You see what I'm saying? That has the final stone. And whoever wields this gauntlet with these stones, the universe bends to that individual will. So whatever you want to do in the universe, you can do it. Well, guess what? That is not against God. Okay? That is not anything wrong. That you come to a state in your mind and your existence where you figure out how you can will yourself into existence. You can bring things into existence. You can create what comes to your mind. And all it's saying is, what are the steps that are necessary in order to make this happen? Now, does this mean you kill off a whole planet? No, that's not what they're saying. You got to look at the symbolism that's talked about. So we got the Space Stone, the Mind Stone, Reality Stone, Power Stone, Time Stone, and the Soul Stone. The Space Stone is the Tesseract. That's the cube that y'all know from the original Avengers. The Mind Stone is in Vision, okay, who's the android that was brought to life by Thor's hammer. The Reality Stone was in Thor Dark World. That was the ether with the elves, okay. The Power Stone was in the Orb and Guardians of the Galaxy, and then the Time Stone is from Doctor Strange. He wears it around his neck. Now, everybody wants to know where the Soul Stone is. Where's the Soul Stone? And it's deep because if you look at the stones actually spell out Thanos deep enough. You got the Space Stone, that's Tesseract, that it was found in, and that's the T, okay? Now, the H is missing, and the H is supposed to be what the Soul Stone is going to represent, okay? But the A represents the ether, which would come after H, which is the Reality Stone. The N would represent, with the Mind Stone, the O would represent the Orb from Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you got the S stone as well. Each one of these stones, depending upon where the stone was found in, ends up spelling out the word Thanos, Thanos. So everybody wants to know where the Soul Stone is. They thought that the Soul Stone was in Heimdall because he got this tree on his chest with a stone in it, but he's not the one that has the Soul Stone. The Soul Stone is going to be obvious, going to be in Black Panther. That's the next movie that's going to come out. Why is it in the Black Panther? Because in the Black Panther, if you look at the teaser poster, not the poster that's out now, so everybody got to look at the teaser poster where he's sitting in the throne looking like Huey Newton. If you look above his shoulder on the left where the sun is shining, there's a stone in the wall in the halls of what you call necropolis. So if you got Tesseract dealing with T, you got Ether A, you got the necklace, which represents the Eye Agamotto with Doctor Strange, you got the orb representing the O and the scepter representing the S. Well, then this H, I would feel, means Hall of Necropolis, necropolis meaning halls of the dead, where the dead are. Because think about it, soul man, soul brother, soul food, the people with the soul. The solar people, the vibranium, the melanin, who else would have the soul stone? And this is why you see that there's a huge battle that's going to take place in Wakanda where Thanos has to come. He's not coming there for no reason, you know what I'm saying? So he's obviously coming there for the soul stone. So, Space Stone is going to be able to teleport you wherever you want to go in space. Like, space is relative. The quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. That doesn't mean you have to get on a plane and fly 8, 12 hours in order to do so. Okay, the Mind Stone is able to what? Be able to manipulate the mental, okay, which is, everything is mental, all is mind. The Reality Stone, same thing, a manipulation of reality to kind of slip it and make it as fit. That's kind of what Scarlet Witch is able to do with her powers in creating illusions and things. The Power Stone is just that, power. You know what I'm saying? That you yield by way of electromagnetic energy, and the best mechanism that's able to manipulate electromagnetic energy is that of melanin by way of the carbon complexes that it makes with its aromaticity. Time Stone, come on, we know how powerful time is, okay? They showed you in Doctor Strange, he fought Dormammu and was able to beat him by what? By manipulating time. And then, of course, Soul Stone, hey, soul representing the personality. You see what I'm saying? So when people talking about they selling their soul, they look like they robots after that point because the thing that makes them them, they have compromised and have given away. All right? Mm-hmm. So let's jump into Thanos real quick because obviously Thanos is the main aspect of all of this. This is the big bad man, right? But who is Thanos? So I'm going to describe who Thanos is from the Marvel perspective, and then I'm going to give you the lowdown on who he really is. So Thanos was born on Saturn's moon Titan. Now, I just told you about Biden. I just told you about the cube, and I just told you about Saturn and Destiny and Mother and all that, and it just turns out that he was born on Saturn's moon? Okay, Saturn's moon Titan, and is the child of the Eternals mentor and Sui-san. So his dad's name was Mentor, okay, Mentor, and his mom's name was Sui-san. Thanos carries something called the deviance gene, and as such shares the physical appearance of the Eternals, which is a cousin race, okay, to them. So, at birth, his mother, Sui-san, tried to kill him because he had this deviance gene, because the deviance gene, when you're born grotesque and ugly, okay? What people do you know were born grotesque and ugly, and essentially, whatever race was responsible for them coming to existence wanted to do away with them, wanted to kill them. And what did this do to the psychology of those group of people that ended up then, going through time and establishing their history, So during his school years, Thanos was a pacifist and would only play with his brother Edos because he was a twin, where he represented the darkness and Edos, quote-unquote, represented the light, all right? By adolescence, Thanos had become fascinated with nihilism. Okay? Nihilism and death, worshiping and eventually falling in love with the physical embodiment of death. So Thanos gets equated with death and he's infatuated with nihilism. We're going to talk about nihilism in 1 second. But let's keep in mind that Dr. Francis Cress Wilson paper, The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation, speaks on the psychological effects of the Caucasian's thoughts of genetic inadequacy and how it impacts his relationship with the universe. All right? Why does any of this matter? Because Thanos in Greek mythology is Thanatos. Okay? Thanos is Thanatos. And Thanatos in Greece is death. Okay? To die or to be dying. Okay? It's the personification of death. He was a minor figure, in mythology, you don't hear much of him. But I mean, why would he be like not talked about if it's the personification of death? And when you look at the Greek and the Roman and a lot of these mythologies, Kemetic mythology, Indian mythology, Mayan mythology, everything has to deal with death in the death world. So why have we not ever heard of Thanatos? Well, we are with this Thanos character. Okay, the Roman equivalent of Thanatos is Moors. Now, I'm not trying to start nothing right now, but if you listen to the Moors, one thing that Taj always talks about, okay, Baba Taj Tariq Bey always speaks of is a phrase called civilita mortus. The mortus means dead. Okay, so that's what that Moors is. So Thanos and Moors, or the mortus in the statement civilita mortus, are one and the same. What does that mean? That's dead in the eyes of the law. That's the Dred Scott case. That's the reason why, that's the reason, or the excuse rather, we get for the way we're treated in our society. In society, that's how we're treated. We're treated as if we are dead to the law. So it doesn't matter how much we cry, or how much we complain, or how much we protest, or what we file, or what we do. We still get shot. We still get done and treated less than human. And the excuse we get for that is because there's a Latin phrase called civilita mortus that we fall under the context of, because we are not claiming our blood. We're not claiming who we really are. We are perpetrating a fraud and embodying another principle other than who we really are. And because we're doing that, we are not acquiring or standing next to our inheritance of who we stand for. So in aspect, we are seen as being dead in the law, which is Moors, which represents what? The Roman god of death. All right? So euthanasia, which we all know is what we call a nice way of killing somebody, which was popularized by Dr. Kevorkian, right? That is a Greek term also related to Thanatos, because the name of the device that Jack Kevorkian would use his euthanasia, or the device that he would use to implement the euthanasia, was called the Thanatron, okay, from Thanatos. So he named his machine Thanos. The same machine he was using to knock all these people off was called Thanos. Now, the funny thing is there's also a Thanos disease called thanatophoric dysplasia. This is a skeletal disease, skeleton, okay? What are we talking about? Bones, Capricorn, Saturn yet again. And what happens in this disease? Well, you have a degenerative disorder of the bones, but more specifically, you get folds on the arms and the legs. Now, anybody who's seen the trailer, if you see your boy Thanos walking around, he got folds on his arms and his legs on his skin. Okay, so they're really trying to get you to understand that this cat is representing the death aspect and dying, okay? All right, so nihilism. What is this nihilism that he is so infatuated with? Is a philosophical doctrine that suggests the lack of belief in one or more meaningful aspects of life, pretty much feeling that life don't got no value to it, okay? Now, a way to get a better understanding of nihilism is you hear this word in another term called annihilate. Okay, annihilate, because the "an" is a prefix, and then you got the nihilism in the annihilate. So that means to reduce to nothing. Okay, but in physics, it means the conversion of matter into energy, especially the mutual conversion of a particle and an antiparticle into electromagnetic radiation. So you are dealing with principles on many levels here, okay? Now, the term of nihilism, sometimes used in association with anomie to explain the general mood of despair at a perceived pointlessness of existence, okay? So you're talking about a thought process where you don't feel there's no meaning to anything. Now, if you feel there's no meaning to a thing, then what you're going to do, you're going to stir up some stuff, because you're going to feel you have to put meaning into life, because life essentially doesn't have it. And it doesn't have any meaning until death ensues. Think about it. A lot of people don't give a damn about their health until they start what? Dying. You know? So existential nihilism is the philosophical theory that life has no intrinsic meaning or value with respect to the universe. Okay, it suggests that a single human or even the entire human species is insignificant, without purpose, unlikely to change in the totality of existence. Okay, according to the theory, each individual is an isolated being born into the universe, barred from knowing why, yet compelled to invent meaning into it. So this is his whole thought process, and this is existential nihilism, but you got moral, you got metaphysical, you got epistemological, and you got political nihilism too. You know, so this is his thinking. So once again, Soul Stone, I'm saying, is with the Black Panther. The Marvel themselves, their company, when they premiered the trailer, you know, you always got a screenshot to the video. What screenshot did they choose? They chose the screenshot of a charge of a group of warriors in Wakanda moving towards the screen. And in this screenshot, you got Okoye, right, one of the Dora Milaje, right next to Black Panther, who represents the epitomac version of the Star from Upper Kennet. You got Captain America as Nomad now. He ain't Captain America no more. He's a man without a country. So now his star is painted black. Okay, so you got Okoye, which represents the Dora Milaje, the black woman, as a warrior. Okay, like I said, a Black Panther himself as Epitomac, that black cat. Captain Star is now painted black. You see what I'm saying? And he has two black shields made out of vibranium now, right? Carrying this black star. You got Black Widow. You got the Winter Soldier, who represents the Orion or the Hunter version of a star. How you know that? Because the red star on his left shoulder represents Betelgeuse from the constellation of Orion. And then you got Falcon. You represent Heru. You got Black Iron Man, right? The War Machine. And you got Hulk, who represents the Green Man version of a star. So you got this black front. You know what I'm saying? This whole Black Order coming towards the screen in order to offset whatever invasion's about to take place in Wakanda. Now, Thanos ain't by himself. He got himself his own crew, and his crew is called, guess what? The Black Order. The Black Order gets the Saturn cube from what's his name? From Loki, by way of them taking over the ship at the end of Ragnarok. Okay, when they take over the ship at the end of Ragnarok, they tear up all the Asgardians. Remember, this whole thing started with a deal between Loki and Thanos. Okay, Loki and Thanos were set in death, and he didn't hold true with his promise because the Avengers got him. So he has to pay his dues. His karma came back around, so he got to give that cube up, which he stole before the destruction of Asgard. So Black Order is Black Dwarf, Corvus Glaive, Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight, Supergiant. These are all his soldiers, Thanos soldiers, that he's going to be having in the movie. But they're called the Black Order. Okay? Now, Spider-Man, don't worry, we round in third. We round in third here, y'all. You know, this is a lot, but it's deep like that. Okay? We're talking... They broke records just with a trailer. Like, y'all don't understand what's about to go down. So, this Spider-Man, I talk about Spider-Man a lot. You know what I mean? This is one of the superheroes I break down often. I have a real connection with Spider-Man because of what he represents. Now, I talked about this in my Spider-Man Home and Decoded that I did in London this year, which I got on DVD. You know, if anybody's interested, they can holler at me, lovegreenlife@gmail.com, LUVGREENLIFE@gmail.com. That's how you can get the Ragnarok Decoded as well. But to get back to it, Spider-Man Decoded, Homecoming. Spider, the etymological root of spider means to spin. To spin. What are we talking to spin? Spin webs? Yeah, to spin webs, but specifically the spin of electrons, because Spider-Man has to deal with electromagnetic frequencies. How do we know this? Spider-Man has his history with Anansi the spider. This was confirmed in the comics of Marvel that the first Spider-Man came from Ghana. His name was Kwaku Anansi. And he spun a web up to Inyame, and he got all of Inyame's stories representing what? Information, intelligence, magnetic field, okay? How do we reinforce the electromagnetic properties of Spider-Man? If you look at his new logo, it is a benzene ring. It is a cube. It is the same black box. It is a benzene ring with what? The energy emerging from it. That's what the little circle is above the cube. Why is it a benzene ring? Because when you look at a benzene rings are photon traps. These are 6 carbon rings that form a hexagon that is able to trap light. Okay, ultraviolet light. That's why tyrosine and tryptophan and all of these particular molecules that we use in order to absorb light and transfer light, melanin itself has to deal with tyrosine, has to deal with nothing but aromatic rings itself. We're dealing with the whole aspect of the benzene ring. What makes the benzene ring so important is the fact that each carbon in this hexagon shape, and don't worry, y'all are going to have the visual as I'm saying this so you can know what I'm talking about. This hexagon shape at each 6 point is a carbon, okay? The orbitals appear above the plane and below the plane, and everywhere that there is a double bond in this hexagonal ring, you create something called a pi electron or a arch, okay, as these electrons create a resonance with one another. The end of this resonance creates a ring of energy, a cyclone of energy, a spinning donut, so to speak, of these electrons, where these electrons are now kind of creating a self-circuit just within this little molecule of 6 carbons. Okay, this resonant field of the pi electrons, all right, in this benzene ring is what you see Spider-Man standing in when they show his scene. Okay, what is he doing? They show him in his new suit inside of a spinning ring. The reason why they have him in a spinning ring is because Spider-Man means to spin, and because the benzene ring on his logo, that's exactly what it's doing. It's creating the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail in regards to current, in regards to energy. All right? When we first see him, he's on a bus. First time we see him with a spider sense, what's his spider sense? The same spider sense you got, okay, called goosebumps, when your hair stand up, picking up the subtle electromagnetic frequencies that occur inside shoes realm, or what we know as the atmosphere. Okay? So, and once those pi electrons create that circle, that resonance field, black holes start popping up. You know, we create black holes all the time in our body where things come in and things leave out, especially in our brain. The scene where you see Dr. Strange, you see Wu, his homeboy, or Wong rather, his homeboy, Tony, and then you see Bruce Banner smashed into the floor. Well, this I'm going to give credit and shout out to Brother Panic. I heard he had a wonderful event. Much love and light to the brother in regards to the information that he put down. Somebody was able to communicate to me one of the points that he made that I agree with wholeheartedly in regards to his perspective on the aspect of Asur, okay, or Osiris, Set, and Horus or Heru, representing the ego, the subconscious, and the spirit. And you see this played because Hulk represents Asur. Now, where do we find him? We find him smashed in a basement in the Sanctum Sanctorum. The Sanctum Sanctorum is like the crave of Brahma in your mind where the pineal gland exists. That's where Dr. Strange is there because he's the master of mystic arts. He represents the Heka, or the magic aspect, the science that you yet not understood, right? And he has smashed down into the bottom area of the Sanctum Sanctorum because that represents the subconscious. That represents the mind below, okay? Now, which aspects do we see in the trailer? Like I said, we see the cube, we see the scepter, we see the eye, because they talk about the space, they talk about mind, and they talk about time. These are all elements that we're dealing with. We always talk about space-time, but the mental realm has everything to do with that. They never talk about how mind influences space-time, all right? So, what 2 stones do we see Thanos with before the end of the trailer? He has the power gem in, and then he's putting in the blue, or rather the space gem inside of his gauntlet, which is letting you know that the power is in the space, the power is in land. Space ain't just like outer space, which y'all think of with planets. Space is what's all around us, okay? And when you're talking about people and gentrification and genocide and rape of land and taking people's land and taking people's resources. You're talking about the occupation of space. Okay, so the power to the oppressor is the acquisition of all the space around. That's why you see this cat with this glove, and he has power and he has space in the gauntlet as he's laying his hand down on the Ogun energy, which Iron Man represents. You know, he's putting his hands on him. That's another reason why Iron Man is Spider-Man's mentor, is because Spider-Man is Kwaku-Anansi, which means born on Wednesday, but Ogun or Iron Man represents Abena, which is born on Tuesday, the day before. So he's older than him. He's a mentor to him. Okay. Now the funny thing is, the last shot that they show in this trailer is your boy Thor turning around, talking about who the hell are y'all guys, and it's the Guardians of the Galaxy. And this is to reinforce the fact that with all that's going on, how are they going to be able to battle Thanos? You know, everybody has to come together. They got to bring the cosmic aspect, right? Because Ragnarok was in space and Guardian Galaxy was in space. Space always represents the higher realms. Bringing the higher realms into it. They said it in Doctor Strange, you know, you never get rid of your demons, you just learn to operate above them. So how are we going to learn how to operate above them? Well, Star-Lord was able to kill his father, who was what? The same thing that Brother Panic said Set represents. What did he say Set represents, brother?
The ego.
The ego. And that was the name of Star-Lord's father in Guardians of the Galaxy. Represented a cancer that he had to kill. Okay? And Thor also lost his father in Ragnarok because of egotistical reasons, the way he was acting with his daughter and then trying to hide everything and make it look like, everything was peachy clean with their people, even though their people were living on a land based on raping, pillaging, and spilling blood. You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff coming to the surface, karma coming back around, these particular individuals, just was able to defeat the ego, and in defeating the ego, they have to bring that energy, the being able to defeat the ego down to Earth, in order to create this harmony and this balance that they're going to need in order to defeat this cat named Thanos. You know what I mean? So, just to kind of sum it up, this trailer, even though it's just a few minutes long, there's a reason why there was 230 million views of it, and it has to do with it resonating with a bunch of people. Now, you got people that read comics, you got people that just like the movies, but then you also got a situation where it's touching something inside. It's connecting with the frequency in you, and what is it? You know what I mean? So I just wanted to go through, these different points and these different aspects so that people can kind of get an idea of what all is going on, when they see this particular trailer. But we're dealing with Vina, the third sphere out of the 10 Sephiroth of the Kabbalah. Thor Ragnarok, right, was about climbing up the ladder, in order to put the crown on the eternal flame being what? Ein Sof, Ein Sof and Ein Sof all right, and then after the explosion of Asgard, which is that catalytic metaphysical reaction, like when you take DMT and you hear the cork pop, you know what I mean, that explosion, he sat in his throne, you know what I'm saying, on the ship. But then right after he sat on his throne, what's the name showed up? Thanos showed up because there was a death that occurred. And every time there's a death, there's another journey you got to go on. This thing don't stop. This thing keeps going. So now there's a descending of the energy. So we're going to see it next with the second sphere being Chokmah, or wisdom, because Black Panther, just listen to how he talks in the movie. He's full of wisdom. That's going to be Forrest Whitaker's role, as sure as Zuri in the movie is going to be his wisdom advisor. So it's going to be all about wisdom, and then Infinity War is going to be about understanding, and the nihilistic thought that was popularized by Nietzsche, that philosophy is going to be something that Thanos is really going to be resonating on. But it's just going to be focusing on death, because that's something that we really don't talk a lot about as a people. We suffer from it all the time. People drop like flies. People dying either from murder or suicide or from health, dropping off like flies. Our understanding of what our next stage is after this particular existence, we're all very foggy about. You know what I'm saying? And what this is doing is putting a perspective back on death being something that we look at, you know, with a wider eye and with a wider scope. We know that this is just a period in time that we are experiencing right now. This ain't all of our existence, you know, and that after we die, you know, we have further work that needs to be done. And what work we do is really based on the decisions that we make here, you know, which is Malkuth, you know. You know, a lot of this information I'm talking, you know, I learned a great deal of this from A.A. Rashid. You know, he is the Kabbalah guide. You know, he drops the bomb on that all day long. So, you know, big shout out to him, you know, in regards to bringing that Kabbalistic information to our people, because, you know, how many people in the hood is picking up a Kabbalah? That's the main magic in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? This is why there's a lightning bolt on Harry Potter's head, because the wand he uses is made out of Hollywood, the holly tree, okay? And then the lightning bolt over his eye, Harry, Heru, represents that lightning bolt, represents the line that's made from Keter to Chokma to Bina to Chesed to Gabura to Tepidus to Netzach to Hod to Yesod to Malkuth all the way down. This forms a lightning bolt. And the flashing going back and forth represents the energies and the flux that occurs in consciousness and enlightenment. And that's what's going to occur in this movie. There's going to be a lot of enlightenment that's going to occur, but by way of Kali Yuga. Okay, we know we got Kali Yuga outside of CERN. Okay, the Large Hadron Collider, which has the Lord of the Rings, pumping particles round and round, creating other realities. I mean, look up CERN if y'all don't know about the Large Hadron Collider. Okay, Bina, this third Sephiroth representing Saturn, representing the bones, which is a disease of the bones that results in folds of the legs and the arms of the Saturn's skin. That's why when you look at his body, he got folds on his arms and his skin, because he is Thanatos. He represents the god of the dead, you know. So, you know, anybody who's interested in getting any more of this information, you know, I got a lot of decoded here with Brother Rich on Black Magic 363. However, if y'all interested in any DVDs, I got DVDs on HollywoodDecoded.com. I haven't been able to upload my latest ones to there yet, but my older ones are there. But my newest titles are Spider-Man Homecoming, as well as the Hyperdimensional Biochemistry I did in London. Those are two DVDs that I have recently. The Ragnarok Decoded, and then the triple feature that I did last year, which was Doctor Strange, Luke Cage, and The Arrival. But, yeah, Infinity War is going to be a big one. 10 years in the making, all right? They made $13 billion so far. They're probably going to make another $3-4 billion, you know, by the time Avengers Infinity War is done. So we're talking about a company creating upwards of $16-17 billion in a decade, based on what? Usurping our allegories of ancient antiquity. And that's why I spend time, like Joseph Campbell does with his people, breaking down mythology. I'm taking the time breaking down, because this is the current mythos, okay? Iron Man, Spider-Man, Batman, all these cats, these are the new Zeuses, the Swords, Herus. This is who the youth is attracted to. This is what the teenagers are engaged with, the young adults. This is what people are connected with. So I want to make sure that as this energy comes through, whether you doing YouTube, TV, movies, whatever type of interface you're using to deal with this entertainment, to deal with this Hollywood, that you have a better idea of what you're watching and what you're seeing. You know, so I put the work in order to do so. But yeah, Rich, that's pretty much my take, you know, on the trailer. I'm going to be doing a Black Panther decoded in February in Atlanta. You know, that's going to be real big. And in regards to what I'm doing as of recently, anybody in the Dallas area, in the Texas area, if y'all come out to Pan African Connection, 4466 Marcellus Avenue, I'm doing classes once a week now, Wednesday, like 6:30 to 8. And then this Saturday on the 2nd, if anybody's in the Dallas area, I'm doing a pop-up at Pan African Connection, where I'm going to have all my vegan food there, because, you know, I deal with the transition meals. And also look forward to me and Rich teaming up with the weekly health watch that we're going to be doing to answer the community's questions in regards to health issues. If you go to my YouTube page, KT the Arts Degree, you'll see that I've been posting a lot more videos lately, so you can see a lot of the health information there. People are getting a lot of good info from it, and, you know, I look forward to coming back on the platform so I can share, you know, information with the people more consistently. So kttheartsdegree.com, lovegreenlife at Gmail, LUVGREENLIFE@gmail.com, KT the Arts Degree on Instagram, Kamani Tate on Facebook.
Indeed, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show again, KT. I think we're going to start that the weekly joint on health next week. I'm glad you reminded me. I forgot about that. So I think we'll start that next week. So y'all stay tuned. Next week we're going to do our first health joint where we're going to have live call-ins, and KT is going to help the community as far as this health is concerned. One of the most important issue. You can't do anything without health. So on that note, man, like I said, thanks for being this community's Joseph Campbell and breaking this down, brother. We definitely appreciate it. And I hope y'all enjoy. Make sure y'all sign up to Patreon. Go to patreon.com/blackmagic363 and support this channel. I'm going to be uploading stuff on there more often. Just uploaded the Panic Lecture. Everybody's loving it, and I'm thankful that you guys enjoyed it. And on that note, family, we are signing out, and we're going to see you next week with the health, our health piece. So we out of here. Peace.
Rich. I came from the Nile Valley. It's bittersweet, I smile sadly. Truth rarely seen like child's daddies. I'm in Hotep, I style flashy. Regarded highly, I'm Selassie. As time is passing, tribes are clashing. I know the ledge, I grow my dreads. My queen's two open legs have golden eggs, I'm hatched. 9 months had to hold my breath. Now I dream so heavy that I broke the bed. Provoke the feds that slaughter the sons. 12 get the 4-5 like a quarter to 1. The war has begun. Latin for sun, the soul and melanites get more of the sun. We the fortunate one. Got the God in the womb and the Lord in my come, and no more means love. Death is the source that I'm from. Everything that they do, we have already done. Self-taught, my ice a melt salt. Mine high price, I write and sell thought. I felt cloth, I cannot.